So you want to buy an Audi sports car, but the Audi R8 is just a little too pricey for you. What do you guys end up getting? Well, that's a pretty easy choice. You buy the Audi TT RS, the two-door coupe packing Audi's legendary 5-cylinder engine. This car sounds like an absolute dream. Just listen to the exhaust note on this TT RS. When the Audi TT RS released, it was faster 0 to 62 miles an hour than the Audi R8, Audi's premier supercar of the time. Basically making this car, I would say, a baby supercar for half the money. Like, Audi doesn't want you guys to know that, but this car is a bargain. Sadly, guys, though, Audi has announced that the Audi TT will no longer be sold or produced in North America, meaning farewell to the legendary TT RS. So, if you are looking for a sports car that you can enjoy on the back roads for half the price of a supercar, then join me, guys, as we dive deep into all you need to know about the Audi TT RS. The concept of the original Audi TT began in the spring of 1994. What do you know? That was the year I was born, and this was at the Volkswagen Group Design Center in California. The name behind the Audi TT came from the successful motor racing tradition of NSU in the British Isle of Man TT motorcycle race. I know many of you guys may be saying, NSU, who are they? How do they even relate to Audi? They're a motorcycle company, for peak's sake. Well, it's pretty simple. These 4 companies, including NSU, later merged into a company that created Audi. So the 4 rings that you guys see on those Audi, each one of those rings represents the 4 original companies that merged together. Pretty cool facts. I don't think many of you guys may know that. And hey, now if you're an Audi head, you got some cool facts to back up your Audi knowledge. NSU also produced the NSU 1000 TT, 1200 TT, and the TTS, which all took the name of the Isle of Man race, like I mentioned before. When Audi was actually designing the new TTs, they also looked at the NSU TTs for inspiration to design the new Audi TT, which kind of is very fitting with how Audi named the car the Audi TT. The original Audi TT launched in September of 1998, and at first, the reaction by the public was freaking awesome. People absolutely loved the design of this car. But soon after, the Audi TT started to struggle due to high-speed instability issues. Yeah, this led to actually a couple fatal accidents. Most of the people wouldn't actually experience most of these instability issues, but for the people living in Germany, you got the Autobahn. You're going pretty fast on those roads, and that's kind of where these gremlins really showed, and definitely put a dampening on Audi's launch of this car. Audi recalled all the TTs, slapped on a wing onto the rear of it, and that solved the instability issues for the TT. After 10 years of production and a successful track record as a sports car, let's just not mention that, beginning issue with the cars crashing, it was time for Audi to finally take the next step forward and make a TT RS. In 2009, with the second generation of the TT in full production, Audi dropped a freaking bomb, guys. At the 2009 Geneva Auto Show, Audi debuted the first ever Audi TT RS. But originally, guys, this car was only available in Europe. And us here in North America, we didn't get the TT RS. But due to over 11,000 US enthusiasts signing a petition and sending it to Germany, in late 2011, Audi finally decided to release the TT RS to North America. See, for once, guys, democracy actually doing something good for the people. Like, we got the TT RS. Woo! The car would be powered by the beautiful 2.5-liter 5-cylinder turbo engine that could produce 335 horsepower and 330 foot-pounds of torque. Audi chose this 5-cylinder engine due to their rich history in the rally stages. This motorsport heritage convinced the engineers to take a second look and build a powerful version of this engine for the TT RS. Pairing this with the holy grail 6-speed manual transmission, the car could do a 0 to 62 miles an hour in 4.6 seconds and could reach a limited top speed of 155 miles an hour. In true RS fashion, the Audi TT RS was lowered by 10 millimeters all around, And it was also equipped with a magnetic ride adaptive dampening system. This allowed the driver to select different drive modes, such as a dynamic or a comfort, to change the balance of the car. The TT RS also got a new front bumper, new interior trims to make this car stand out from just the base Audi TT. The first Audi TT RS completed production in 2012 and was then replaced by the new TT RS Plus. This TT RS Plus took the first TT RS and offered a higher performance spec version of the car. The beautiful 2.5 liter 5-cylinder engine got some more power, up to now 360 horsepower and 346 foot-pounds of torque. Paired with the same automatic gearbox as before, the car could also do 0 to 62 miles an hour in 4.3 seconds and was electronically limited to 174 miles an hour. Overall, the chassis was pretty similar to the previous TT RS, and for the Plus, I really just see these as more of like a facelift version of the car than I would say like a completely new generation. It definitely has performance upgrades, but overall the car is very similar. For all of you that are hardcore car enthusiasts and love manuals, well, this is the last Audi TT RS that came with a manual transmission option. So for that reason alone, if you guys want to get a manual transmission car, this is the car to buy. I also think that this car will see a lot of appreciation in probably the next couple years because of that manual option. In 2017, the newest generation TT RS launched, and out of the gate, the new TT RS had over 2 times the amount of horsepower under the hood as the original Audi TT. Yes, this 2.5 liter 5-cylinder engine was now able to put out 400 horsepower and made 354 foot-pounds of torque. Paired with the new 7-speed dual-clutch S-tronic gearbox and backed with, of course, the Audi Quattro all-wheel drive system, the TT RS could do 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.7 seconds and reach a top speed of 155 miles an hour. If you know Audi, then you guys know the Audi R8 is Audi's top-of-the-line supercar, like I mentioned in the intro. The new TT RS was so fast, it was a 1/10 of a second faster, 0 to 62 miles an hour, than the R8 of that time, basically making this car a baby supercar for half the money. The press even called this car a baby R8 killer, just because of how crazy the performance was, and the car was literally half the price of an R8. On the exterior of the car, Audi revamped the design, adding larger intakes, larger fixed wing, and a rear diffuser. Inside the new TT RS, it screamed sportiness, guys, with the new Audi R8 steering wheel, Audi's virtual cockpit display, and some beautiful crafted leather and Alcantara bucket seats. In 2019, Audi did do a facelift to the Mark III TT RS. Most of the updates were design based rather than the upgrading in the actual tech of the car. You can see the changes mostly in the front bumper and also the headlights. This current generation TT was announced in 2019 to be the last generation made due to falling sales in 2018 and 2019. They said that they would be actually focusing more on replacing the fleet of vehicles with electric versions of them. Sales will continue through 2021 with the final release of the Audi TT RS Heritage Edition in 2022. Only 50 units will be sold, with 10 of them in each color worn by the legendary Quattro from the 1980s. Pretty cool car and a pretty cool concept. I think these cars will sell incredibly quick. So if you guys want one of these cars, I would highly recommend buying them now while you still can. The TT RS prices, honestly guys, have held up incredibly well over the past 10 years. Normally with a 10-year-old car, you're gonna see some solid depreciation numbers. Trust me, I just did a video on the Audi RS7, and after 5 years, the value of those cars were mostly slashed in half. But with the Audi TT RS, you're really not seeing any of this crazy depreciation numbers. If you guys can actually swing and purchase a brand new TT RS Heritage Edition for, get this, only $86,000, then I would say totally go for it. This TT RS is the fastest and most modern of the TT RSs ever built. This will also be the last rendition and the last version of the TTs that will be available in North America. If you guys actually think about it, it's still a lot of money, but it is still $110,000 less than a new Audi R8, which that's a pretty great bang for your buck, because this car is almost just as fast 0 to 60 as the Audi R8. Looking on Auto Tempest, the first generation TT RS are going for around $33,000 up to $40,000 depending on the mileage and the condition of the car. The Mark II TT RS Pluses are selling for just a little bit higher of a premium over the first generation TT RS. They're starting around $40,000 and go all the way up to $60,000. Personally, guys, I think that these prices will keep increasing since this was the last TT that actually ever came with a manual option. I think into the future, that manual option is just going to become a lot more sought after by car enthusiasts and collectors. The Mark III TT RS prices have stayed pretty high over the past few years. If you guys want to buy the newest used TT RS, well, you guys are going to have to be looking to spend around $64,000 on the low end, all the way up to $80,000 on the high end, depending on the mileage, conditions, and what features are actually added into the car. The newest generation TT RS is a beautiful car. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love the styling of the Mark III TT RS. It is the most powerful of all the generations before it, but it is still the most expensive option out there, which can be hard for some people to actually afford to buy this kind of car. When buying a TT RS, there are a few things you guys will want to look out for when purchasing the car. After looking through several forums online and talking to several previous owners, the biggest complaint would be the magnetic ride failing over time. This is most prevalent in the Mark II TT RS, but when this system starts to leak, guys, it is time to replace the whole system. This is a very expensive repair, and many people choose to just install some aftermarket coilovers like some KW V3s and install a magnetic ride delete kit. It saves actually a few $1,000s, and if you're looking for straight performance, the KWs are a great coilover option to go with. The second major thing to look out for would be carbon buildup. Due to the TT RS being a direct injection engine, over time, there will be buildup on the head that will need to be cleaned. This is a very common maintenance item and can be performed at a dealer for a fair price. If you guys are just looking at, I'd say, any Audis or Volkswagen, this is also something you will want to look in at the newer versions of the cars, because most of them are now direct injection motors. The third thing that you will want to look out for would be on the Mark II TT RS, and that would be the issues that could pop up with a manual transmission. You want to just make sure that the clutch is operating correctly and that nothing is slipping. With this generation, the Mark II TT RS being the last year that a manual transmission was available, this option is becoming a lot more desirable, and because of that is making these cars go up in value and putting a premium price over the automatic versions of the TT RS. The last thing I would say to look out for would be modifications. Modifications are not a bad thing for the TT RS. They actually can dramatically improve the performance of the car. With just some basic bolt-ons, you can see the TT RS making 450 all the way up to 600 all-wheel horsepower, guys. That is a pretty incredible improvement in horsepower with just some bolt-on mods and a tune. I would recommend doing some research on what parts were actually used and installed on the car and how good the reputation is of those parts, because if cheap parts are used, most likely things are going to break on the car. If you guys had to choose a sports car for under $50,000, my choice all day, any day, will always be the Audi TT RS. There is just no other sports car out there like this car today. It has just such a bang for your buck value, honestly. When the Audi TT RS first launched, this car could do 0 to 62 miles an hour in a tenth of a second faster than the Audi R8, Audi's premier exotic car. If that doesn't show you guys how well this car was actually built, then I don't know what does. If you guys have the need for speed, well, buckle up, because with some modifications, few $1,000s here and there, the Audi TT RS could do 0 to 60 miles an hour in sub 2.3 seconds, which is faster than a Bugatti Chiron. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, this car is an absolute beast of a vehicle. The Audi TT RS is beloved today, guys, in the car community, and based off of that 5-cylinder engine that was found in the Audi rally race cars, this car has so much history and styling that will keep people engaged for years to come. If I had to choose a generation, I would choose all day the Mark II TT RS due to simply one thing: the manual transmission option, and the ability, I would say, to modify this car to make it just as fast as the Mark III TT RS. That would be my choice, but the true question is, what is your choice? Let me know, guys, in the comment section down below which Audi generation of the TT RS you would choose. If you guys want to see similar videos, go check out these videos over here. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.